Dallas Mavericks over the last 10 days from L.A. to Oakland and up to Madison Square Garden, where my man Dirk Nowitzki met my wife's donor, Niels, up at Madison Square Garden on Monday night. And now I get to go deep into the heart of Texas and Dallas, where this guy has been doing sports radio longer than just about anybody down at WBAP. I don't know how many years. It's 20. He's actually from St. Louis, but been down in Dallas forever. You can follow his journey out on Twitter at LamboBAP, as well as at WBAP.com. We welcome Steve Lamb back on the program. Steve, how are things down in Dallas besides first place and quarterback controversies, where it felt like the most seamless controversy in the history of the National Football League, man?
Well, I don't mind telling you it's 31 years
31.
at WBAP. And had a couple of years before that in the radio business, so that means I'm an older guy who's been around. But 31 years at one place in this business, that's something you can toot your horn about. So I'm going to do that for you guys. And I'm bragging about our weather here in Texas with everything going on. I mean, when it's 80 degrees and we're playing golf in November, although it's pretty nice around the rest of the country too. It's not as crazy, though, probably, as it's been in Big D. And you mentioned Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk's usually pretty high on the radar around here with the way he's played through all the many seasons with the Mavericks, but it's all been about Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, that Cowboys offensive line, and the guy who used to be their quarterback, Tony Romo. Oh, my gosh, what a week with the Romo news here in North Texas.
Well, it's as unique a press conference as I think I've ever seen, right? I mean, you don't ever see the torch being passed. Usually the starter comes back and plays because the backup is the backup, especially when it's a fourth-round rookie. This is a Wally Pipp moment, and certainly a pretty momentous moment in a lot of ways. I mean, for Garrett's relationship and Witten and certainly Jerry Jones and what they've been through with Romo, who, as I've stated, feels a little bit like a Charlie Brown figure in all of this, like the football always gets pulled out of the way when he goes after it, right?
I said earlier this week, we never saw this coming. Tony Romo never saw it coming. Having to stand in front of that packed room of all the members of the media, and as he read his prepared statement saying, Dak has earned this opportunity to be the quarterback of the Cowboys. I promise you, back when they went to Oxnard, California, he saw himself guiding this team to basically where they're at now with Tony Romo as the guy and not Dak Prescott. Heck, Prescott wasn't even the number 2 guy. He was number 3 carrying a clipboard and just going to watch for a while. Watch for a few years like Romo did until he was able to come in and gets the starting job. And here he is now having to go through the same process that he did with Drew Bledsoe when he replaced Bledsoe as the starter for the Cowboys. And we've kicked the tires all week. I guess it's sort of like Brett Starr taking over or losing his job with Green Bay, or you can go back farther than that, Joe Montana with the 49ers, and now here we are with Tony Romo, the guy on the outside looking in.
You know, for Dallas, there's always been some controversy, right? And they've had some controversial figures.
Jerry wouldn't have it any other way.
And Jerry likes to be in the middle of it. This has been the antithesis of that, probably to the benefit of the organization. We'll find that on Sunday if they can beat the Ravens and run the football and do it the way they've been doing it down there. But this could have been very, very fiery, right? I mean, and in the past, it may have been in Dallas, but I guess the cast of characters around there, it feels like there's nothing controversial about Jason Garrett. There's nothing controversial about Prescott or Romo. It feels very, very professional what's going on down there right now.
It's the circus that is Jerry Jones and has been for all these many, many years, still trying to prove to everybody that he can win a Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson in town calling the shots. Jerry is determined to do that, and he wanted to do it with Tony Romo as his quarterback. Now, most people have already said, put the for sale sign up in front of your house because this is Prescott's team. There's been a slight crack, though, in the store. What if Prescott does struggle here now that Romo's back? Because he won't be the guy who's just standing there this week. He'll be the guy in uniform in place of Mark Sanchez ready to go in. So I'm anxious to see how Prescott performs. I think he'll be fine. The kid has not shied away from any of the boulders that they've been rolling down the hill at him. I mean, playing in the SEC and I'm not waving the flag for the SEC because I'm a Big 12 guy, although I shouldn't brag about that right now. But the fact that he's been able to go in and do everything they've asked, and he does it on the field and off the field, I don't see this changing. For many, many years, it's going to be Dak Prescott's team.
Steve Lamb joining us here from WBAP, deep in the heart of Texas, where they fly that Texas flag at 8:20 a.m. in their News Talk channel. 31 years covering sports and seeing all the Cowboys' comings and goings. Look, I'll be honest with you, Steve. I've always hated the Cowboys. I mean, even back to Staubach and Dorsett and those guys. I was a Houston Oiler fan back then, long suffering, still suffering from that. But a couple of championships up here with the Ravens, and watching Jerry chase the ghost of Jimmy Johnson and Troy and Emmett and Irvin and all of that stuff that in America's team and building the biggest stadium and all of that stuff. He gets all the blame for the last 20 years. He going to get any of the credit if you guys get on I-45 and go down to Houston for a Super Bowl in about 10 weeks?
I guess you'll have to say, Jerry finally got it right. What Jerry's done is, as he's gotten older, is he's listening to his son, and I could say sons, but Steven's the guy who's in his ear all the time, is executive vice president in charge of all the player personnel decisions, and they have slowly put this thing together. I mean, Jason Garrett, and think what you will about the Cowboys, and I'm right there with you. Growing up in St. Louis, I didn't like the Cowboys either. And I've had to come to love them and watching them win back in the 90s, those championships with Aikman, Emmett, and that group. But this is a fun team. They seem like they're disciplined, and that comes from Garrett. As far as Jones' input, he's on the sidelines counting his money, and he'll continue to do that because win or lose, and I hear this all the time, Cowboy fans, they don't care. They continue to show up because it has been more losing than winning. But this year, it seems like they've caught lightning in a bottle. I can't wait for Sunday and watching that Ravens defense against that Cowboys offense because I'm not sure how good your defense is, and I'm not sure how good the Cowboys offense is. We're about to find out.
Well, they've done it against everybody else, and certainly the offensive line and the running game, that's something that when you have that and you have stability in the offensive line, which is woefully lacking with the Ravens with Yonda's injury and Alex Lewis's injury and Ronnie Stanley, a rookie who'd been injured earlier in the year. We've had all of our offensive linemen out. That is the strength and the core of that, and it almost feels like speed in baseball, like your old Cardinals teams back in the mid-'80s. It doesn't take a day off, right? I mean, it usually shows up with a lunch pail as long as it stays healthy. You can usually run the ball.
And they keep proving it week after week after week. I mean, they go to Green Bay, and I know the Packers aren't the Packers this year, but you go to Lambeau Field and beat Green Bay with a rookie quarterback, a rookie running back, and the numbers he's been putting up, very impressive. Then you come back, a big Sunday night game, the whole country's watching on NBC, and you beat the Philadelphia Eagles, one of your hated rivals. And now you go into Pittsburgh and you beat Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. I mean, that was a huge, another big step for the Cowboys last week. I'm still trying to figure out how they lost week 1 to the New York Giants, or they be 9-0.
We'll always be connected with Jason Garrett because of the dalliance. He and his wife flying up here, and Bisciotti offering him the job and chasing him around, and then really being spurned. John Harbaugh knows he wasn't the first choice around here. Jason Garrett was. Jerry managed to keep him and has kept him around. There really is sort of this all-in-the-family feel down there. It's a family business, and the affinity for the Garretts and the Wittens and the Romos, at this point, it feels like it may finally pay off to some degree. But the Garrett thing, for sure, they've been loyal to him, and Jerry's been loyal to him, almost treats him like a son, right?
He does. And Nestor, I've been watching this game, watching this team for a long, long time, and you've seen it when a team has that chemistry, and this team does. It does start. It's having for me that feel of those clubs back in the 90s when they went out on the field and they knew they were going to win a game. I don't know if this team has that attitude or swagger about themselves yet, but boy, they're getting darn close, and each week is just a another step in improving themselves. And I don't know, as I look at their schedule, who stops them. I've heard a lot of discussion. People talking about, are they the best team in the NFL? Well, yes, they're the best team in the NFC. And then somebody goes, wait a second, did you see what happened in New England last Sunday? So Seattle's got to come into the conversation. But right now, it looks like the team that's going to end up down in Houston playing in the Super Bowl, as far as the NFC, it's going to have to come through Dallas.
He is Steve Lamb. You can follow his journey out on Twitter at Lambo WBAP. You can follow him at Steve Lamb as well at WBAP.com, deep in the heart of Texas. So we got a lot of folks coming down to Jerry's World for the first time. There'll be some purple down there. A lot of people have asked me about the stadium. I always tell the story of walking in there for the Super Bowl and seeing Brian Billick 5 stories tall and 4 stories wide and the television set. And I think you can sort of get mesmerized by watching the TV set in there. But the stadium is, places as much as you want to tailgate and eat brisket outside and have some beers before a noon kickoff locally. The stadium is its own sort of sideshow, isn't it?
And you probably described it very well in your first time coming here. Now, you left out with that Super Bowl appearance, having to fight all the ice that we had that week. I promise you, you won't have to worry about that this week. This is just, again, Indian summer, whatever you want to call it. It's another great time to be in Texas, and it doesn't hurt when the Cowboys are on a roll. But win or lose, we're always talking about them. Fans will have a good time. It's Cowboy fans, I think, are usually pretty polite or roll out that Texas welcome when folks come. But you're right. Don't get caught staring at that screen. You might want to watch what's going on down in the field as well.
Yeah, I remember the Willis McGahee run that sort of closed down the old place. We don't play you guys often enough going across conferences, and it's our first visit down there. Everybody's worked up. Last thought for you. I know you're a St. Louis Cardinals fan, Steve. Is it killing you with this Cubs thing? I mean, it kills me when the Penguins win the Stanley Cup. It destroys me anytime the Steelers win. I know how these rivalry things go. I mean, you guys have had it pretty good in St. Louis for a long, long time as Cardinals fans. Watching the Cubs dance up and down, it's got to eat at you a little bit, right?
You know what? My mom taught me to share. You got to learn to share a little bit. So I think in being 31 years at BAP, so that puts me, again, being kind of an older guy, I've learned that life's too short to live with that grudge. Congratulations to Chicago. It was a great series, a great final game, and that's all I want to see when I see a championship that's being played. I want it to be a close game. I have no problem with this Sunday going down to the wire like it did last Sunday against the Steelers. So here we go. Sunday afternoon should be fun.
Hey, man, great having you on, Steve. Thanks for the visit. We'll be checking you out at WBAP down there in Texas. Thanks a lot.
Anytime, Nestor.
You got it, Steve Lamb from WBAP.com and 8:20 a.m., the longest tenured sports radio voice in Dallas. I'll be in Dallas on Sunday. Luke's going to be in the backfields all week in Owings Mills, keeping you abreast of all things as we get ready for the game. 1 o'clock kickoff. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. First place Baltimore Ravens. I love saying that in November. You can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We come in crystal clear in Fort Worth, Dallas, Baltimore, Bel Air, Glen Burnie, Annapolis, Eastern Shore, wherever you are. You can find us there. The morning newspaper ships directly to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. That is powered up by Planet Fitness at planetfitness.com. And last but never least, breaking news happens first on our WNST tech service. That is sponsored by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Thousands of you on it. You know it is our best service. Dennis will be here on Thursday driving you home from 3 until 5, getting you ready for the weekend as well as for Cowboys and Ravens on Sunday. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. Streaming live on our Facebook Live as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. I'm a very available individual. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.